picture, and which bar you must prefer to look? The yellow one. The yellow one is based on the standard deviation. The blue one is based on the variance. All our guidelines, understanding are based on the standard deviation. So use the yellow one. And now there is red also given. The red can be used when you don't give USL, LSL, yellow won't come, only the red will come, and that time you can refer to the red. So that means this is what all of you need to compare. Now see here, it's very clear. Part to part variation, this is your project. Measurement variation, this talks about your gauge capability and gauge adequacy. Now the second graph, R chart by operator. And now looking at the graph, can you tell me how many operators are here involved in data collection? Operator 1, operator 2, operator 3. And now looking at the graph, you'll also looking at the point. Let me explain the point before you try to answer. How many parts are used in the gauge R&R study? 10 parts. 10 parts are used. The 10 parts should be collected in such a way that it covers the entire range of your measurement. You collect the 10 parts in such a way that it should cover the entire range of your measurement or range of the parts. For example, you are producing, somebody said 2 mm is what customer wants. But actually when you produce the product, it may not be exactly 2 mm. It will be 1.9 mm to 2.1 mm. So now within 1.9 to 2.1, what is the range? Only 0.2. Within that 0.2 range, you must select 10 different parts, right? And now each part, imagine your each appraiser is measuring multiple times. Each appraiser is measuring multiple times. So the first appraiser on first part, let's say he measures 3 times. And now this point is the range of the 3 reading. So the range is more. You can understand the appraiser is performing inconsistently while measuring the same part 3 times. So what should be the value of range? Range should be minimum. And similarly, second part, what is the range? So that means this each and every point talks about repeatability of the operator while measuring each and every part. Now tell me who is more repeatable. Operator 1 is more repeatable, or operator 2 is more repeatable, or operator 3 is more repeatable. Or tell me who is good now out of the 3.
Operator 2.
Operator 2 is good.
Okay, operator 2 is good. And why do you say operator 2 is good?
Because he's
consistent with his measurement.
When you say consistent, you are saying that all his readings are closer to the center line. Am I right? Most of his readings are closer to the center line.
Yes.
Very good. So now you get an idea about where from the repeatability originates. Now who is bad here out of the 3? Who is contributing more to the repeatability error?
Operator 1.
Operator 1.
Operator 1. Because his points are closer to the control limit, upper control limit and lower control limit. Now how will you reduce the repeatability error? What can you do with the operator 1? Come on. What can you do with operator 1? You have to train him.
Maybe, yeah.
You have to train him, and you teach him and check your operational definition, and whether he is not able to understand the operational definition and all that, you can do. What will happen? He will also start producing readings closer to the center line. And now all of you said operator 2 is repeatable. But I am seeing a problem with operator 2. Why? For the reason that, can you see most of his points are only on one side of the center line. Most of the points are on one side of the side. Whenever you see a specific pattern happening, you can understand the variation is non-random. If variation is non-random, that is a problem. When variations are random, that's no good thing. But variations are non-random, it's a problem. To understand this, for example, yes.
Pardon, sir. Sir, variation is non-random means what, sir?
Variation non-random means something is influencing. results.
Okay.
We don't want any factor to dominate. We want all the factor only to contribute to the result we are expecting. If anything is
Okay.
creating a variation, and that means it is influencing. So whether any factor is influencing, how do I know? Whenever I observe a non-random pattern, I consider my observation as non-random if the point goes beyond control limit. Am I right? But now none of the point is beyond control limit. Everything is inside. But I am matured enough to still figure out the non-randomness here. For example, imagine you are in a hospital inside an ICU ward. Do you see these kind of graphs inside the ICU ward?
No.
Yes, sir.
We see this kind of graphs. also.
ECG,
It
ECG,
presents
sir.
every patient.
ECG.
ECG. Will it go up and down? Will it go up and down?
Yes.
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 Sir, basically, a particular pattern of up and down is to be followed for a healthy patient for
Yeah.
the heart rate.
Very good. Very good. Suppose for one patient, there is no up and down. It is only a flat straight line. What do you think about the patient?
Yes,
It is
systolic.
no more.
Right. Right. Same way, I am seeing something happening here. Do you see a straight line coming on here?
Yes.
Now, is it not an indication of a special cause?
Yes.
That's how your maturity improves when you start using all these tools and techniques. Don't wait for somebody to create a rule for you. Now you can say when continuously 5 points falls on one side of the control limit, that is a special cause in my process. I will say students scoring less than 80 or less attentive in my training program. That rule is decided by me. All of you are with me on this? 80 is a good mark. 75 somebody score. I will still classify those who are scoring less than 80 as less attentive during the training program. They are simply logging into the meeting, but they are not listening to us. Is that clear? But generally people believe those who are failing are not attentive. But I'm saying that those scoring less than 80 are not attentive. So basically these kind of rules you can generate. These rules will finally become a control plan for the entire organization, which we will be teaching you in the control phase. Is that clear how to use the R chart, all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So now we move on to the next. So R chart checks the repeatability of the appraiser, and R chart monitors within appraiser variation. Now we understood almost all the three are having problem with the repeatability. Am I right? Now can you say like that? All the three are having, earlier you said number 1 is the problem. Now I explained number 2 is also having a problem. Now number 3 also you can see, many of the readings are falling on the lower control limit. That means, there is no variation. Only when there is no variation, the range can become 0. So if somebody says there is no variation, and that is also a problem. All right, X bar chart. Now what is this X bar chart is telling? Look here, there are 3 operators. Each operator measures each part 3 times. So what is this particular point? Average of the 3 reading. This is second average. This is average of the third part, average of the fourth part. It goes on like this. See, part selection for the gauge R&R study is important. I told you, you select at least 10 parts. You select at least 10 parts. And now, within the 10 parts, I also suggest you that you mix up 50% of the parts as the bad parts or 40% as bad. That means 60% of the products are acceptable, but 40% of the products are rejectable. Hope all of you understand now the point, how to select the 10 parts for conducting the gauge study. So 6 parts can be acceptable, whereas 4 parts should be rejectable product. If you mix up 40% as rejectable item in your X bar chart, those 40% of the points or 40% of the parts should come out of the control limit. If that is not happening, you can understand your measurement system is not able to discriminate between good and bad. All of you are with me on this?
Yes.
100 parts you included, 40 parts are bad. And you are conducting the study. You are making your people to measure, and finally results are out. And you already know 40% of the parts you were given are bad, and your team should also classify those 40% as bad only. And that should happen. Here, points coming out of the control limit is, confirms your measurement system's ability to discriminate between good and bad. If that is not happening, then you can understand your measurement system is having a problem, right? And that's one thing. So, and also, in fact, a few more information it gives, but that we can understand in the next graph. And this is called response by part. This is a dot plot. Operator number 1, part number 1. Yes, not operator number 1, sorry, part number 1, and it goes up to part number 10. Part number 1 is measured by operator 1, operator 2, operator 3. Operator 1 gave you how many reading? 3 reading. So operator 2 gave you 3 reading. Operator 3 gave you 3 reading. Totally how many readings? Totally how many readings you got from part number 1?
9.
Those 9 readings you are seeing here. All of them came from a single part. But do you see the variation here? Do you understand the inconsistency? Whatever reading I gave and whatever reading you gave, and whatever reading the others appraisers gave, and these are not matching. So what is this problem? This is, and moreover, the 3 reading from operator 1 and 3 reading from operator 2 and 3 reading from operator 3. If all of us work properly, work as a system, what will happen? All the 9 reading will appear as a pile of coins, one over the other. But you won't see, spreading like this. And now, out of the 10 parts, where the spread is more, number 1 or part number 3 or which one? Where do you see the more spread here?
Part number 10.
So what do you understand? Part number 10, your team is measuring in a different way. So I don't know what is going wrong. So people are finding, your team is finding difficulty, particularly while measuring part number 10. If all of them are measuring in the same way, all the points will pile up one over the other. If pile up happens, then it is best reproducible, measurement system. If it happens like this, instead of pile up, if it spreads, then reproducibility is getting affected. So where do you lose your reproducibility, particularly while measuring part number 10? All of you are with me on this?
Yes.
Where your team is more reproducible, looking at the graph?
Part number 7. Part number 6 and 7.
Very good. Part number 6 and 7, your team is reproducible. But remaining points, your team, experience a lot of reproducibility issue. So this is how you will be. So this is how you will be able to get to understand by looking at the graph. It checks the part-wise reproducibility of appraiser, right? And now here it is more reproducible. Here also it is more reproducible. However, this is very bad. Reproducibility at its worst. And so you can take action accordingly. Maybe you can train them on how to measure part number 10. That will bring down the reproducibility error drastically. Now here also I have shown the best as well as the worst. And now response by operator. Now operator 1, in our experiment, there are 10 parts and each part is measured 3 times. So 10 into 3, 30 readings, isn't it? Operator 1 gave you 30 reading and operator 2 gave you 30 reading. Operator 3 gave you 30 reading. Operator 1, the 30 readings that came from operator 1 is distributed like this. The 30 readings given by operator 2 is distributed like this. And another 30 readings given by operator 3 is distributed like this. Now, what do you understand? And for each operator, the median, your quartile 2, is appearing as a line, horizontal line. Here also horizontal line. Here also, here where is the horizontal line? Yes, I think it overlaps here. And then the center is nothing but the average. Average is here, average is here, average is here. And now, what do you understand here? Who is not aligning with the team? Who is not aligning with the team? Operator 1 or 2?
Operator 2.
3.
Operator 3.
2 is pulling down the average, isn't it?
Okay.
2 is pulling down the average. So 2 is different. But who is correct? I don't know. Whether 1 is correct or 2 is correct. Or correct means no, he has to give the accurate reading. That is different. If you want to understand that, then it depends on again your part selection. If you select the part,
Pardon, sir. Pardon, sir. In the box 1, there is a line drawn. What it
median,
depicts to?
line drawn is median, and the circle is cross. The circle with the cross is average. And what is
Okay,
expected is the median, the average should align in a horizontal line. If average is not aligning, you can definitely understand operator 2 is measuring something differently from the system. What has been told, probably 1 and 2 are doing, and 3 is differing. But to clearly understand whom we should follow, whether 2 should follow 1 and 3, or 1 and 2 should follow 2, 1 and 3 should follow 2. If you want to understand, again, your part selection is important. How many parts you selected? 10 parts. Am I right? You selected 10 parts. If you select exactly 5 parts on the right side, exactly 5 parts on the left side, 5 on the right side of the target, 5 on the left side of the target, and if the data is distributed with equal interval, if data is distributed with equal interval, automatically the median will overlap with the mean. The median will overlap with the mean. So if you select the parts in such a way, you will also understand who is measuring correctly, and then what kind of action you can take, that also can be understood. And suppose, imagine for operator 2, the median and the mean are overlapping. And moreover, my data is also distributed exactly into 2 of. Only when my data is distributed exactly into 2 of, I will get the mean and median overlapping. I will get the mean and median overlapping. Under such situation only, I will be able to tell operator 2 is perfect, and 1 and 3 needs to be advised to follow like operator 2. If that, if you have not taken care of that part distribution during the part selection, then you will not be able to make out that statement. But talking about the reproducibility, only looking at the box plot, what I understand is operator 2 is measuring slightly different way than 1 and 2, and that is why my reproducibility is going up. So it looks operator 2 is contributing more for the reproducibility. Is that clear? Checks the overall reproducibility of the appraiser. And operator 2 is not aligning with the team. But I'm not saying that operator 2 is wrong. Sometimes operator 2 may be correct and 1 and 3 may be wrong. And that is why the difference exists. And for that, how do you select the part is important. You must have knowledge about what kind of parts you have included in the study. If you included the parts in a random manner, and then you can't comment on it, right? But if you know that the parts are selected at equal interval from the target on the right side as well as on the left side, then mean and median should overlap. And so I will say that is happening for part operator 2. So operator 2's procedure is good. No more reproducible he is, and so the 1 and 3 should be corrected. Is that clear? Right. And finally, part operator interaction. And now part number 1, 3 reading from operator 1, which is green color or blue color. Then 3 reading from operator 2 and 3 reading from operator 3. And the dots here you are seeing a circle, a square, and a diamond. These are nothing but the average of the 3 reading. Average of the 3 reading, right? So the average of part 1 for operator 1, similarly average of part 1 for operator 2, average of part 1 for operator 3 are given 3 different colors. Same way, the average for part number 2, average for part number 3, and it's so on. And now what is expected is all the 3 average should overlap. All the 3 average should overlap, and that is what we already previously checked also with the dot plot. And the overlapping doesn't take place. The overlapping doesn't take place means you can understand the reproducibility issue here also. Reproducibility issue is more while measuring part number 10, that already we know. And now one more thing we are going to understand. And now the average of part number 1 by operator 1, and similarly average of part number 2 by operator 1. Operator 1 is blue color here. For part number 2 also is blue color here. Similarly for part number 3, the average of the part number 3 is indicated in blue color here. Similarly it is here. So operator 1 is following is this kind of pattern. Going up from 1 to 2, coming down from 2 to 3, again going up, coming down, it goes like this. So this pattern should be repeated. This pattern should be repeated by other appraiser also, other operator also. Because if the part is really the part you are measuring really requires the operator to follow a specific pattern, then all three should follow the same pattern. If all three follow the same pattern, you will see the blue color line, red color line, and the green color line going parallel to each other. Do you see the lines going parallel here? But not throughout, isn't it? Only here from 4 to 5 it is parallel. From 3 to 4 it is parallel. But in certain area, the lines are also intersecting. So intersection, lines intersecting or no lines not going parallel indicates the disagreement. Probably while either at 3 or at 4, your team is having a problem. So this will also help you to bring down the reproducibility. Is this particular graph you can understand how to use? Are any questions here to me? No questions? That means, right? So what is expected is, we expect the lines to be parallel. If the lines are overlapping, that's great. Please note, this is nothing but overlapping of the X bar chart, what you have seen earlier. I'll show it again for your information. And see here, your X bar chart. The first one is blue. This one is given now as green color, and this is given as blue, red, and green. And this is what this pattern. If all of them are measuring in the same way, the pattern will get repeated. If all of them are measuring exactly the same way, then pattern will exactly overlap. So what is expected is overlapping, and what is expected is the same pattern. So you can check for the overlapping and you can check for the same pattern. And wherever you are not able to get overlapping, wherever you are not able to get the same pattern by following the parallelity, you can judge what is going wrong. And this is how these graphs will help you. So main objective of the measure phase is validating the measurement system and then measuring the baseline performance. Repeatability is the error within appraiser, and reproducibility error is the error between appraiser. Gauge R&R is a statistical summation of repeatability and reproducibility error in the measurement system. And gauge R&R should be less than 10% of the interest zone. What do I mean by interest zone? The customer tolerance. But I will recommend to all of you, instead of using the customer tolerance, use the process tolerance. Because once you improve your process, obviously all your output, you will start getting inside the control limit. So that time you can change your denominator to UCL minus LCL instead of USL minus LSL. But the requirement is denominator can be USL minus LSL. But if you replace the denominator as UCL minus LCL, your measurement system is really, really great. If these tolerance values are not available, not known at the time of conducting the case study, then the denominator can be steady variation. What is steady variation? The maximum reading that is there out of your measurement study minus the minimum reading. So this completes our MSA.